Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video here I have created one of the file as a app URL, and here I manage all that our API URL, right? So that I have already created some of the APIs URL in our Laravel project, so that is all that our API. So now I manage all that API in our React, and I just also add one of the base URL, so that is our total our side link, that means our Laravel link, and that is /API, right? And also I take everything in one of the variable, so later we will use it. So when I will use, everything will be more clear to you. So friend, there are one another things, like if you go to your top banner, into the top banner I have already checked it, there is a component did mount. Into the component did mount area I load that Axios, one of the get method, right? So now I want to create one of the common get method. So then that will be better. In one file I want to create one of the common method, and then I simply load this file, then that will be enough. So when I will execute it, then everything will be more clear. So like first of all I want to in our REST API folder. So into the REST API I have created one of the app URL. So now I want to create another new file. I name it as a REST, okay, REST URL or REST client. So I name it as a REST client, okay. So REST client.js. First of all I want to create another class component. So that will be not component, I want to create another class. So right now we don't need this, I simply remove it, and also render, we don't need this, I remove it. We don't need any component, I simply remove it, okay. So only we have to do, we have to add that Axios, because here I want to load that Axios. So I import this Axios, and here I simply load it, okay. So in particular that position, first of all I want to get all that our request, that means for the get request I want to take it as a static, okay, static. Into the static I name it as a get, and then request I name it as one of the method as a get request. So now with this method I want to pass one of the parameter as a get URL. I want to pass one of the parameter as a get URL, and into this get URL area here I want to load, first of all I want to return. So that will be the return, okay, return our this Axios. So I load that Axios, and I want to access that our get method, and to this get method area I pass our this parameter as a get URL, okay. So that is a get URL, and then whatever the data I will get, I will actually pass it with the response. So I make it as a then, okay, then I want to pass it into the response, okay, response. I want to pass it into the response, and into the response area I want to actually add this our return. That means the return will be our this response data, response, and then data, okay. So I simply pass it. So that is actually just like our get method. I have already used it. You can see there is Axios get. So now before I pass that URL, so our this URL will be our, I name this parameter as get URL. So I take the things with this variable as get request. So now when every time I want to use our this get URL, okay, so with this get URL automatically will be get all that our response data. So for these ones I make this part as a common one of the part, and here after that also if you want to use that as a error, you can see there is also another error as a catch. So I also want to do that work here. I want to use that as a catch, so that will be as a dot, okay, dot, and then the catch, okay. So in the catch area I want to pass that error. So error for the first time I want to make this error as a null, okay. So here I want to make it as a return will be as a null, okay. So I simply make it as a null. So why I'm actually using it, how much helpful it is, I will show you when I will execute this part, then everything will be more clear. Just simply get this idea. Here I have created one of the get request method, okay. So that is actually I have created it's the Axios. So Axios our common get method I simply loaded in our REST client.js. Perfect. So now I click as a save all. So friend, in our next video I want to deploy our project. That means I want to deploy here there is our Laravel project, okay. So I want to deploy this total Laravel project to one of the cPanel, and then that will be most interactive. Then if you want to access your local host data, you can also access it, because for the local host Here I have already added our base URL as this one, right? So when we deploy this our total project, only we have to update our this base URL. So automatically then that will be actually get all the data from our database, that means from to the cPanel database. So if you want to get this data from to the web, and if you want to visible it in your site, then you can display it. And also if you want to display your localhost data, then also you can able to display it. Okay, so I will actually cover both of this with you, then everything will be more clear. So how you can deploy this project to the web server in our next video. I will show you that things with the live example. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.